Hello, I'm Ryan.
Cameron.
We are called Ryanhood.
If I could be transported back to any decade, it would probably be the early 70s, musically speaking anyway, for bands like Pink Floyd and Moody Blues. Just a big, expansive, warm, kind of experimental sound, plus good songwriting.
I would probably go right back to the 90s again, and but actually be of age to be making music in that era when CDs sold 10 million copies and riffs were a part of rock and roll.
I have guilty pleasure places for Katy Perry, for sure. You do one, and then I'll think of another one.
It's probably still, it's just nerd rock. I listen to De La Fleck and the Flecktones and Joe Satriani and stuff that I developed my playing from, and I still like to put those records on and play air guitar. I love the sound of some beautiful guitar feedback with reverb and delay.
I love the sound of a really strident high violin, like a solo violin. It's one of my favorite sounds on the planet.
Can you make it?
You could do it. Recording acoustic guitar through the plug-in piezo pickup, that sort of buzzy, plasticky sound versus actually miking it from like the neck, the condenser mic. I know a number of people who think, oh, that's fine, I plugged in and I recorded it, this is great, right? And I think that's a good demo. Like, that separates a demo from a recording for me.
I hate the sound that bad wiring in a venue makes when you turn the stage lights on and all the monitors and speakers start going from the lights. That's a bad sound that you have to deal with for the whole show sometimes, but not at Cafe 939.
Mostly just Ryan. Probably inspires me more than anyone.
Same. I would like to work in film somehow. I don't know how yet, but probably in some sort of video editing capacity. I enjoy working with that medium.
Could I be Kid Rock? Is he would you call him a musician?
You could be him when he's off stage.
Some sort of artist, some sort of graphic designer or fine artist, or perhaps a mime. Anything where I get to express myself and somehow get paid.
My water bottle to save the world from plastic bottles filling up the seas.
You have a good heart. These guys go with me everywhere, and you can tell. Okay.
I would say, let's see, it's kind of a tie for me, but between Jan Tiersen, who did the Amelie soundtrack, and Teitur, T-E-I-T-U-R, who's an amazing singer-songwriter, who had a brief flash of fame with like Atlantic Records and a John Mayer tour, and then he's now this little indie artist, and he's great.
There's a band that does hymns called Page CXVI, as in they got page 116, and they just do these really like warm, beautiful, chimey versions of hymns, and they don't sound old or churchy, they just sound really beautiful. I've found them really moving, actually.
My first concert experience was Candlebox with the Flaming Lips opening, and I remember finding out after the show that a friend of mine, I was probably in 6th grade, a friend of mine who was at the show, just before the guitarist for Candlebox went on stage, he reached out and handed his unfinished joint to my 6th grade friend in the audience, and then and then he played the show.
I saw Green Day as my first concert experience, and I remember that people were throwing things at them in the audience, and they stopped and said, if anyone throws anything else, we're going to quit. And someone threw a shoe at the bass player, and it hit him, and they just said, fuck you, we're leaving. That was it. And it was like a couple hours away from the town that I lived in, so I think that my mom was not like ready to come pick us up, so we sat on the curb like by the venue for a couple hours until pickup time, because someone thought it would be cool to throw a shoe.
The most incredible Berklee story is that I showed up for my prepared piece for the what is the auditions that you do when you first get your placement auditions, and my prepared piece was this John Finn song, because I had gone to this Berklee camp in the summer and like took classes from him and got his CD, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool to do, it was kind of a suck up move, I guess, but I learned his song General Sense of Well-Being. And then there's like 50 guitar teachers in the staff, and you don't know who you're going to get to audition with. But John Finn did my audition, and so we put in. I was like, oh my gosh. So I put in this. I was like, you're not going to believe this. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm doing your song. And he's like, are you serious? And I had programmed all the accompaniment to it on my Roland drum machine. So he puts the CD in, and it was the wrong. The CD starts playing, and it was the version of it with me also playing on it that I had sent in for like a scholarship. And I was like, I went pale, and he just goes, oh, it's cool, I've got the MIDI backing track right here. And he spits my CD out, and he puts in the actual like track from the song without guitar, and I played it to his real track. And that was like, I got really good ratings. And it was pretty unbelievable. That was like one of the most amazing I would have been totally screwed if I didn't get him because I had the wrong CD. So that was my lucky intro to Berklee.